moving water is extremely powerful.
Each year, an average of 154,000 people drown in flash floods. It is the #1 weather-related killer in the world.
People cannot conceptualize a force that could, say, wrap a car around a tree. Knock over houses like they were made out of matchsticks. Push cars off roads like they were nothing.
When the rains come and the rivers rise, Mother Nature can turn deadly. People's lives are at risk. It's the job of swift water rescue teams to respond to those emergencies.
30 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet. Hey, he got him! He's got him! Oh, he let go! The pararescue man has let go! He couldn't hang on! It's a horrifying sight!
Water in itself, if you know how to swim, is not dangerous. But when you add the characteristics of flowing water at the volumes that we're talking about and the speeds that we're talking about, and then plop a few rocks in the middle of it and send it over a waterfall, you're talking about an incredibly dangerous situation there.
Raging water is the killer, and the rescuers who battle it are at risk. Even the most experienced can become victims. Since 1983, 37 trained swift water rescuers have drowned while trying to save a life.
Hold it, hold it, hold it! There goes another fireman! They got him tied off?
The number of rescuers that get killed every year are probably killed more so because they lack some information. They were trying to do their job. They didn't know they had passed their limitations. So they just didn't know that they didn't know.
Barry Edwards is a 13-year swiftwater veteran. Rescue work is in his blood. By the time he was 15, Edwards was already a volunteer fireman.
Yo, what are you waiting for? Get moving! If I'd known then that it would lead me to where I am now, I might have reconsidered. Because you do become an adrenaline junkie, sure. It's an exciting business. You know, it's not the same thing every day, and it takes a lot of creativity to solve the problems that people get themselves into out here.
His adrenaline addiction led Edwards here, the banks of the Santiam River in Corvallis, Oregon. His purpose? Teach professional rescuers how to save more lives, including their own.
We're starting off with shallow water crossings this morning. It's one of the more common rescue techniques that we use, especially vehicles in swiftwater. Oftentimes you can just walk out there. We'll probably be discovering our limitations here in a second. Our exposure to being killed while at our job is much greater than most people. If you're working in an office building, chances of you getting killed every day when you go to work are pretty slim. When your office is out here on the river or hanging off the side of a cliff or underneath a helicopter, your chances of being killed are much greater than that.
The rigorous 15-day program is called Rescue 3. It's the new standard for rescue instruction throughout the world.
What we try and teach people is that professionals don't get killed in rescues. The best rescue is when everybody goes home. The second best rescue is when all the rescuers go home.
Michael Kincaid is captain of the Corvallis Fire Department. He is one of 30,000 students who have made it through Rescue 3. Before he took the course, Kincaid had survived 15 swiftwater rescues.
Swiftwater rescue is, in certain aspects, it has some inherent risk to it, and there is some danger involved with it. But that's why we're here, and that's what we're doing, is trying to train for the worst possible circumstances so that we can deal with those when it actually happens.
We got 2 people in the water. I got vest and helmets out the boat.
Most of these these incidents occur at night in bad weather, and it makes things just that much more complicated. But we do the best we can. The old military saying of fight how you train and train how you fight really applies to this.
40% of the rescuers who take the program fail in the first few days. Almost all of them try again and succeed. The primary lesson they learn is to face their enemy head-on.
To be a good swiftwater rescuer, the most important thing you have to know is the enemy. And the enemy in this particular case is the river. Kind of a frightening experience for somebody doing it for the first time. They're wearing a lot of equipment that is alien to you. It restricts your movement. It can restrict your ability to breathe, so you're already behind the power curve before you even get in the water. When they do get in the water, they are battling instinct and common sense. Instinct and common sense can get you killed on the river. Things that you would do normally, or would seem to be the right thing to do, the logical thing to do in a given situation, are actually probably 180 degrees from what you should be doing. Breathing, what will happen with people swimming in this water is they will hold their breath. And every successive time they need to breathe, they inhale, but they never exhale. So in a matter of, 30 seconds, they're starving for air because they have never exhaled, and they keep trying to pull in air on full lungs. What we tell people taking this class, if they don't want to be injured, don't take the class. No one has ever been killed in this class, but we say that with the idea that somebody eventually will be. We know that that will happen. It's a numbers game. Eventually that number will come up, and we can't avoid it.
On three, 1, 2, 3.
Experience has taught Mike Kincaid there are several things he can count on in a rescue. A potential victim can also be a lethal enemy.
When you're approaching a victim that's in the water, that's near drowning at that point, there are two basic responses. One is that they freeze, and the other is that they panic. And in a panic situation, they're trying to grab the first thing that floats, and that can often be me. I can usually escape from a panic victim just by going underwater, because that's the last thing that they want to do. But it's a risky thing to do, and a lot of rescuers drown because of a panic victim.
One of the most important rules that can save a rescuer's life: do not go into the water to save a victim.
Rope!
Instead, they learn to use ropes, poles, even tree branches. But sometimes those measures can fail. Debris and rushing water is a lethal combination. 600 pounds of water pressure can pin a rescuer against an unseen object. It can cost a rescuer his own life.
Come on, Captain Andy. Do it, buddy.
We're doing an exercise where we're to go over an object in the river. It's a log. I was coming from river right. I hit the center of the current. I was going so fast that I couldn't make the area we were supposed to go to, and I caught the log. In real life, it would be dangerous. If this was an obstruction in the river and you were caught by it, that's very dangerous. People drown that way.
And essentially, it just feels like somebody hitting your chest extremely hard. It just hammers you hard, and hard to breathe, can hardly move. It's essentially like bench pressing about 600 pounds. So all you can do is just go under it and hope you don't get caught.
Without warning, their training was put to the test. An afternoon of pleasure had suddenly turned deadly for two rafters. They had failed to navigate the treacherous rapids and were now trapped in one of the most dangerous areas of the Santiam River.
The only difference was is we were here when it happened. If they had gone over the falls with no flotation equipment, no personal protective equipment, no helmets, no nothing, they probably would have broken arms or legs, and more than likely they would have drowned if we hadn't been there.
Be advised that both victims have been rescued from the water at this time.
Good job, man. Down with there.
This is actually becoming a real common problem. Unfortunately, with 911, we call this 911 syndrome. And people realize that there are services out there that will come and help them. So that, and this is typical, they saw us sitting here and the guy walked by and said, oh, well, if we get in trouble, these are the guys that will help us.
At the end of the day, the rescuers don't remember the dangers. They only remember the rewards.
I do this job because I enjoy the water, I enjoy rescue work. It is exciting, and I guess I enjoy the adrenaline also.
I do this not because I'm a thrill seeker, but because I really enjoy what I do. No two calls are the same. It's always changing.
We consider ourselves rescue professionals, and as such we have a job to do, and part of our job is not to get killed while we're doing our job. For me, it's just kind of abhorrent to die doing this job, because my job is to avoid dying.